Hello, travel crew. Welcome back to the briefing. I want you to take a deep breath with me for a second. Close your eyes and imagine the sound of a jet engine's low, rhythmic hum at 35,000 feet. It's a sound I lived in for 12 years. I want to take you back to a specific rainy Tuesday in 2014. I was the lead flight attendant on a long-haul flight from San Francisco to Tokyo. It's a grueling 11-hour trek. I was standing in the forward galley, that's the tiny kitchen area at the very front of the plane, and the smell of fresh espresso was cutting through that sterile, recirculated airplane air. I was checking the manifest, which is the list of every passenger on board, and I was looking at seats 1A and 1B. In the airline world, we often make assumptions. When someone is sitting in those lie-flat first-class pods that cost $15,000 a ticket, we expect to see a high-powered CEO, a tech mogul, or maybe a celebrity hiding behind oversized sunglasses. But when I walked out to offer the pre-departure champagne, I met Bill and Margaret. They were in their late 70s, wearing comfortable cardigans and sensible walking shoes. They looked like they were heading to a Sunday brunch in the suburbs, not a luxury suite over the Pacific. I'll be honest with you, my internal thoughts were spinning. As a lead FA, I'm responsible for the high-value guests, and I kept wondering, who are these two? Later in the flight, while the rest of the cabin was sleeping, and the dim blue mood lighting was reflecting off the windows, Margaret came up to the galley to stretch her legs. We started talking. I asked her quite pointedly, "Margaret, what's the occasion for such a grand trip?" She leaned in, and I can still smell the faint scent of lavender on her sweater. She whispered, "Elena, we're retired school teachers. We didn't pay for these seats with money. We paid for them with the points we've been sitting on for 20 years. That moment changed how I viewed every passenger on my plane. It was my first real aha moment. I realized that the first-class secret isn't about how much you have in the bank. It's about understanding the game that the airlines have been playing right under our noses. Now, I want you to really lean in and listen to this part, because it's something my own mother asked me just last week over tea. She said, "Elena, I see these commercials for credit cards and miles, but isn't that just for business people who fly every week? I'm retired. My flying days are supposed to be over, unless I want to drain my savings." And I told her what I'm going to tell you. Mom, you are actually sitting on a gold mine. You've spent 40 years building a life, paying bills, and managing a household. You have a hidden fortune tucked away in your retirement habits that the airlines are desperate for you to use. They just don't make the how-to manual very easy to read. To understand how Bill and Margaret got those seats, we have to look back at the industry's evolution over the last 30 or 40 years. You see, back in the late 70s and early 80s, the government deregulated the airlines. Before that, every ticket cost the same, and the food was actually good. But once deregulation hit, airlines had to fight for your loyalty. They realized that if they could get you hooked on a currency that they controlled, frequent flyer miles, they could keep you away from their competitors. But here is the shift that happened while we were all busy raising families and working careers. Miles stopped being about flying. In the early days, you had to fly 10,000 miles to get a free trip. Today, most of the points in circulation have never touched a jet engine. They come from your grocery runs, your pharmacy visits, and the very financial structures you've used to fund your retirement. The industry shifted from a travel business to a financial services business that happens to own some airplanes. The points you earn on your credit card or through your retirement-adjacent spending are actually more profitable for the airline than the cash you pay for a ticket. Because of that, there is a massive inventory of empty seats that airlines need to fill with points travelers to keep their balance sheets clean. When you see a first-class seat, don't see a luxury you can't afford. See a puzzle piece that was designed specifically for someone with your stability and your spending history. Bill and Margaret weren't lucky. They were simply the only ones in the cabin who knew that their retirement accounts and their daily life had been earning them a shadow currency for decades. They didn't drain their 401k to see Tokyo. They use the byproduct of their 401k lifestyle to fly in a bed at 30,000 feet. By the time we land at the end of this video, I want you to feel that same sense of quiet confidence Margaret had in my galley. We're going to stop being passengers who are at the mercy of high ticket prices. And we're going to start being travel crew members who know exactly how to claim the seats we've already earned. Are you ready to dig into that digital junk drawer and see what you've been missing? Let's get to work. Now, I want to pull back the curtain on why this free first-class world even exists. If you're like my mother, you're probably thinking, Elena, airlines are greedy. Why would they ever give away a $10,000 seat for a few digital points? To understand the answer, we have to look at the surface layer of the frequent flyer rule. On the surface, points are just a thank you for being a loyal customer. They want you to keep flying the friendly skies with them instead of the competition. But let's peel back that first layer and look at the airline's secret. The hidden truth is that points are a liability on an airline's multi-billion-dollar balance sheet. In the world of accounting, every point you hold is a debt the airline owes you. If everyone decided to cash in their points on the same day, the airline would go bankrupt. So they actually need to get those points off their books. They create award seats on flights they know won't sell out to wash that debt away. They aren't giving you a gift, they are balancing their checkbook. As your travel consultant, here is the strategy for you. You need to stop viewing your points as a bonus and start viewing them as a currency that is constantly devaluing. Just like the price of eggs or gas goes up over 30 years, the price of a free seat in points goes up every single year. My advice to my senior crew is this: earn and burn. Do not hoard your points for a rainy day 10 years from now. Use them while their purchasing power is at its peak. While we're talking about these rules, I often mention the manifest. In my 12 years in the air, the manifest was my Bible. It's a document that dates back centuries to maritime law, long before airplanes ever existed. Back in the 1700s, a manifest was a list of cargo and passengers on a ship, used to ensure that everything that left London actually arrived in the New York harbor. In the aviation world, it's our legal record of every soul on board. For a lead flight attendant, the manifest tells me who you are, what you're eating, and crucially, how you paid for your seat. When I see an award code on a manifest next to a senior's name in first class, I know that passenger is a system expert, not just a high spender. Now, let's get into the digital junk drawer. The surface layer of this step is simply logging into your accounts. Most of you probably have a login for a grocery store like Kroger or Safeway, a gas station like Shell, or a credit card you've had since 1995. You probably think these accounts are separate little islands that have nothing to do with a flight to Paris. Here is the airline's secret. They have partnership agreements with almost every company you do business with. Why? Because the airline sells their miles to the grocery store or the gas station for cash. When you earn fuel points or grocery rewards, the airline has already been paid behind the scenes. They've turned your daily loaf of bread into a microfraction of a jet fuel gallon. They want these points to be small and scattered, so that you never actually accumulate enough to use them, allowing the points to expire and the airline to keep the cash. The travel consultant strategy for a senior traveler is what I call the Great Consolidation. I want you to sit down this Sunday with a yellow legal pad and list every single loyalty program you belong to. Then we use transfer bridges. For example, did you know that many hotel points can be turned into airline miles? Or that your AARP membership has specific portals that multiply the points you earn on a simple dinner out? You aren't looking for one big jackpot. You are looking for 10 small piles of digital dust that we can sweep into one big pile. If you have an old card with 50,000 points, that's not a maybe trip. That's a confirmed one-way ticket to Hawaii if you know where to sweep the dust. This brings us to the most technical and most rewarding part of our briefing, the transfer partner concept. On the surface layer, people think that if they have bank points, they should go to the bank's travel website and buy a flight there. It looks like an Expedia page, and it's very easy to use. You see a flight for $600, and the bank says that will be 60,000 points. But here is the airline's secret. The banks and the airlines have a wholesale rate. When you book through a bank portal, the bank is basically buying a retail ticket and charging you a premium. However, the airlines have a back door. They allow certain banks to transfer those points directly into the airline's own frequent flyer program at a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, lean in, because this is the travel consultant strategy that Bill and Margaret used to fly to Tokyo. If that $600 flight to Paris costs 60,000 points in the bank portal, you might find that the exact same flight only costs 25,000 miles if you transfer those points directly to the airline's loyalty program. You've just doubled the value of your retirement spending. I see so many seniors make the mistake of paying retail with their points. I want you to think of your bank points like a raw material. You don't want to sell the raw timber. You want to turn it into a fine cabinet. By transferring your points to a transfer partner, you are taking control of the currency. While we're navigating these bridges, we often have to deal with the TSA, or Transportation Security Administration. Now, I know we all have a love-hate relationship with the shoes off, laptop out routine, but did you know the TSA is actually a very young agency? It was created in a whirlwind of legislation just 2 months after the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. Before the TSA, airport security was actually handled by private companies hired by the airlines themselves. It was a fragmented system. The TSA was an attempt to federalize safety, to create one standard operating procedure for every gate in America. When you're using your points to fly, having TSA PreCheck, which is often a benefit of the very credit cards we're talking about, is like having a fast pass at a theme park. It preserves your energy so that when you arrive in first class, you're ready to enjoy the meal, not recover from the security line. Remember, the goal isn't just to fly for free. It's to fly with dignity. And understanding these bridges is exactly how we ensure you never have to stand in a long line or sit in a cramped seat again. I want to bring this down to earth with a story about a passenger I'll never forget. Let's imagine Mr. Miller. He's 72, a retired engineer, and he's flying from cold, snowy Chicago down to Florida to visit his sister. Mr. Miller is a cash is king kind of traveler. He sat in 24D, a cramped middle seat, because he saw a deal for $199. At the gate, I watched him struggle to lift his carry-on into the overhead bin because the flight was packed. And the gate agent, that's the person who manages the bridge between the terminal and the aircraft, was barking orders about Group 5 boarding now. Mr. Miller looked exhausted before we even pushed back from the gate. He paid $199 for a journey that felt like a chore. Now, contrast that with Sarah. Sarah is 68, and she's traveling with her husband. Sarah understands the companion pass. On the surface layer, a companion pass is a benefit where one person flies for just the cost of taxes while the other pays for a ticket. But here is the airline's secret. They offer these passes to anchor you to their airline for an entire year. They know that if you have a buy one, get one deal, you won't even look at another airline's website. They are willing to give away a seat for free to ensure they get 100% of your travel business. Sarah's travel consultant strategy was brilliant. She used her retirement spending to earn the pass on a specific airline, then used her bank points to pay for her seat. Because of the pass, her husband flew for $5.60 in taxes. They sat in the front of the cabin, they had 2 free checked bags, and they saved over $800 on that single trip. Mr. Miller paid $199 for one miserable seat. Sarah and her husband paid $5.60 for 2 comfortable ones. Now, I want to take a moment for a consulted corner tip that isn't about points, but it's vital for your safety. Did you know that the air inside an airplane is actually drier than the Sahara Desert? It's true. Most cabins have a humidity level of less than 20%. For my senior travelers, this is a massive health risk. Dehydration at altitude thickens your blood, which increases the risk of deep vein thrombosis, or DVT. When I was a lead FA, I could tell which passengers were pro-travelers because they brought their own electrolyte packets. Don't just drink plain water. Your body needs minerals to actually absorb that moisture at 30,000 feet. It's the difference between landing feeling refreshed or landing with a massive altitude headache. Let's go back to Mr. Miller. He finally decided to try using his points for a trip to London. He went to the airline website, saw a free seat, and clicked book. But at the final screen, he saw a charge for $850 in taxes and fees. He was furious. He thought, Elena said this was free. He ended up canceling the trip because $850 felt like a scam for a free flight. Here is the airline's secret. Certain international airlines, especially in Europe, charge fuel surcharges on award tickets. They call them carrier-imposed fees. On the surface layer, they say this covers the cost of gas. The hidden truth? It's a way for them to make a profit on a free seat. They want you to use your points on these high-fee flights so they can clear their debt and take your cash at the same time. Sarah's travel consultant strategy was to use partner booking. Instead of booking a British airline using British points, she used an American partner's points to book the exact same seat. Because the American airline doesn't allow fuel surcharges on partner awards, her taxes and fees dropped from $850 to just £5.60. She saved enough money in that one click to pay for 3 nights in a London hotel. While we're talking about long flights to London, let's talk about your in-flight movement. If you are over 60, I want you to treat a long-haul flight like a light workout. Every 2 hours, I want you to get up and walk to the galley. That's my kitchen area. Come say hello to the crew. We love it when passengers move around. While you're there, do calf raises. Stand on your tiptoes and back down 20 times. This pumps the blood from your lower legs back up to your heart. I've seen too many seniors land with swollen ankles that take 3 days to go down. Moving your body is the best way to ensure you can actually enjoy the museums and the walks once you arrive. Now, let's look at the wallet audit. Mr. Miller has one credit card from a local bank that he's had for 20 years. He gets 1% cash back. He thinks he's being safe by not opening new accounts. On the surface layer, he is avoiding complexity, but the airline's secret is that they give the new customer all the rewards. They front-load the points to get you into their ecosystem. If you stay with one card for 20 years, you are a zombie customer to them. They have no incentive to give you bonuses because they know you aren't going anywhere. You are essentially subsidizing the free flights of people like Sarah. Sarah's travel consultant strategy is what I call the strategic stack. She has one card for groceries and gas, where she gets 4x points. One card for her pharmacy and dining, where she gets 3x points. And one premium travel card that gives her access to the airport lounge. Speaking of lounges, this is a safety tip, not just a luxury. For a senior traveler, the main terminal is a high-stress, high-noise environment. High noise levels actually increase cortisol, which can affect your heart rate and your decision-making. A lounge isn't just about free crackers. It's a sensory refuge. It's quiet, it has comfortable chairs that support your back, and it has private bathrooms that are cleaned every hour. Using your points to get a card that offers lounge access is a physical health strategy. It ensures you board the plane calm and collected, rather than frazzled and exhausted. Finally, let's talk about the back-friendly booking. Mr. Miller booked an Economy Plus seat to Italy because it had 4 extra inches of legroom. He thought that would be enough. But after 10 hours in a chair that only reclines 3 inches, his sciatica flared up so badly, he spent the first 2 days of his vacation in the hotel bed with a heating pad. The airline's secret is that they sell comfort in tiers. They know that as we age, those extra 4 inches in Economy Plus aren't enough for a 10-hour flight. They want you to bid for an upgrade using cash at the last minute because they know you'll be desperate. Sarah's travel consultant strategy was to book a business class award. She didn't look for the cheapest points flight. She looked for the best physical value. She found a flight with lie-flat seats. On the surface layer, it looks like she's being extravagant. But for Sarah, a lie-flat seat is a medical necessity. It allowed her to keep her spine neutral and her legs elevated, preventing the swelling and back pain that ruined Mr. Miller's trip. She used 60,000 points instead of 30,000, but she arrived in Italy ready to walk 5 miles through the vineyards. My final consultant tip for this section: always, and I mean always, keep your medications in your personal item, the bag that goes under the seat in front of you. Never put them in the overhead bin. Why? Because if there's turbulence and the fasten seatbelt sign stays on for 3 hours, you cannot get up to get your pills. I remember a flight where a passenger had a minor heart flutter and his nitroglycerin was in the overhead bin. We couldn't get to it safely for 20 minutes due to rough air. Keep your life-saving meds in your pocket or the seat back pocket. It's a Lead FA's biggest rule for a safe cabin. We are coming into our final approach now, but I have one more in-flight secret that separates the tourists from the travelers. It's what I call the ghost booking technique. On the surface layer, you go to your favorite airline's website. You type in London, and you see no award seats available. You give up and reach for your credit card to pay $2,000. But here is the airline's secret. Airlines belong to alliances. Think of it like a global family. United is in a star alliance with Lufthansa and Air Canada. American is in Oneworld with British Airways and Qantas. Delta is in SkyTeam with Air France. Sometimes an airline will hide seats from their own members to save them for high-paying cash customers. But they are obligated by contract to show those same seats to their family members in other countries. The travel consultant strategy is to look for the ghost. If you want to fly United to Hawaii, but the United website says no, go to the Air Canada website. Because they are partners, Air Canada can often see seats on that United plane that the United website is hiding from you. You can then use your bank points to transfer to the Canadian partner and book that American seat for half the points and 0 of the hassle. Now, if you remember nothing else from our briefing today, I want you to carry these 3 golden rules in your flight bag. First, your points are a melting ice cube. In the industry, we call this devaluation. Airlines change the rules every 18 months, and they never make the seats cheaper. They always make them more expensive. If you've been saving points for 5 years, you have already lost about 30% of your travel power. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is when you are healthy enough and curious enough to get on that plane. Second, transfer. Don't just spend. Never ever click Pay with Points on a checkout screen at Amazon or in a bank's basic shopping portal. That is the retail trap. You are getting roughly 1 cent of value per point. By using the bridge strategy I showed you and transferring to an airline partner, you can get 3, 4, or even 8 cents of value per point. That is how a retired teacher flies in a $15,000 seat. They didn't have more points, they just had more leverage. Third, comfort is a medical investment. When you are over 60, a business class seat isn't about the champagne or the fancy pajamas. It's about landing with a body that functions. It's about avoiding the back spasms, the swollen legs, and the sheer exhaustion that steals the first 3 days of your trip. Using your points for space is the smartest health decision you can make on your itinerary. I want to speak to you from the heart for a moment about the future. We are living in a revolutionary time for travel. By the end of this decade, we're going to see supersonic travel returning, and even more automated biometric systems that will make the airport frictionless. But as the world gets faster and more digital, there's a risk that we, the ones who remember paper tickets and rotary phones, might feel like we're being left behind at the gate. I truly believe that staying informed about these systems is the secret to staying young. In the galley, I could always tell the age of a person's spirit, not by the wrinkles on their face, but by the light in their eyes when they talked about where they were going next. Retirement shouldn't be a slow fade. It should be your second act. When you learn how to navigate these points, how to audit your accounts, and how to use technology to your advantage, you are exercising your cognitive muscles. You are refusing to be a passive passenger in your own life. Travel is the only thing you buy that makes you richer. Every time you navigate a new city, taste a spice you can't name, or talk to a local in a plaza, you are creating new neural pathways. You are staying flight ready. The future of travel isn't just about faster planes. It's about a more empowered traveler. It's about you having the tools to say, yes, I can see the Great Wall. Or, yes, I can take the whole family to Disney World without checking your bank balance first. Now, I have a small confession to make before I give you your final clearance for takeoff. As I continue my work as a consultant, I've realized that I only have one voice and two hands. I can't be in every one of your living rooms, helping you with your yellow legal pads. To keep bringing you these deep dive updates weekly, I've embraced the very future I just talked about. This digital version of my experience, what you're watching right now, is powered by advanced AI technology. It's a way for me to clone my 12 years of lead flight attendant knowledge and my thousands of hours of travel consulting. This technology allows me to analyze thousands of airline rule changes in seconds and synthesize them into these briefings for you. It means that while the real Elena might be on a flight to Lisbon or sitting in a consultation in New York, my digital flight lead is here with you, 24/7, ensuring that our travel crew is the best-informed group in the sky. It's a partnership between my human experience and digital precision, all designed with one goal: your safety and your freedom. I'm so grateful to have you in my crew. If you found this briefing helpful, please hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. It helps me reach more travelers who are currently sitting on a gold mine they don't know how to use. Drop a comment below and tell me, where is the one place you've always wanted to go but thought you couldn't afford? Let's see if we can get you there.